Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadojayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavadim Uttama Slokim Bhaktim Bhavadir Naishtihi. Chapter 43, no? Chapter 43. Canto 10, Chapter 47, The Song of the Bee, Text 30. Canto 10, Chapter 47, Text 30. Atmani eva atmanatmanam Atmani eva atmanatmanam Srije kanmi anupalaye Srije kanmi anupalaye Atma Mayanu Bhavena Atma Mayanu Bhavena Bodhindriya Kunatmana Bodhindriya Kunatmana Atmani Eva Atmanatmanam Srije Kanmi Anubalaye Atma Mayanu Bhavena Bodhindriya Kunatmana Mataji. Atmani, within myself, eva, indeed, Atmana, by myself, Atmanam, myself, Srije, I create, in me, I destroy, Anubalaye, I sustain, Atma, my own, Maya, of the mystic potency, Anubhavena, by the power, Bodha, the material elements, Indriya, the senses, Guna, and the modes of nature, Atmana, comprising. Translation purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. By myself I create, sustain and withdraw myself. Within myself, by the power of my personal energy, which comprises the material elements, the senses, and the modes of nature. Purport. Although the Lord is the supreme entity, there is no absolute duality between Him and His creation. Since the creation is an extension of His being, this oneness is here emphasized by the Lord. Text 31. Atmajnana maya buddhuddho Atmajnana maya suddho Vedikto akunanvaya Vedikto gunanvaya Susupti swapna jakradibhi Susupti swapna jakradbhir Maya vrittibhir Maya vrittibhir Translation purport. Being composed of pure consciousness or knowledge, the soul is distinct from everything material and is uninvolved in the entanglements of the modes of nature. We can perceive the soul through the three functions of material nature known as wakefulness, sleep, and deep sleep. Purport. It's clearly stated here that the soul, Atma, is constituted of pure knowledge, pure consciousness, and is thus ontologically distinct from the material nature. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that the word Atma may also be taken to mean the Supreme Soul, Lord Krishna. Since the Lord has just explained in the previous verses that all material phenomena are expansions of Himself, the phrase Maya vrittibhir yade indicates that by studying this world deeply, we will come to the perception of God. From this point of view also, the gopis were advised not to lament. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Bole Sumade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dhanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatta Deshadarini Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Kadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Varunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. First of all, let us seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, especially senior Vaishnavas, to bless me to give this lecture on the line of our Parampara. Hare Krishna. Actually, the chapter this here is, when even was when I reading first time, the song of the bee means we know all these things. And also this is Uddhava has brought the message from Krishna to stop the lamenting of gopis because of Krishna's separation. And Krishna wanted Uddhava to convince these gopis by his message. They should stop lamenting and not to worry, little console them. Now Uddhava has come to Vrindavan after seeing Nanda Maharaja, Yashoda and all those things, made all the formalities. He arranged a separate place to meet the gopis. And he has come to meet the gopis. Initially they were having so much cry and other things. Later he convinced them to hear the message of Lord. And whatever we read is second and third message from the Lord, which Uddhava is conveying. Previously one more sloka is there. This second and third sloka, what I have read. It is certainly, on first look, it's not a message to be given to the person whom he loved. How much will it convince? Nobody knows. In particular, the gopis' loves are totally different. Nobody can understand. To the extent they were looking Krishna in the Vrindavan mood, Vrindavan form, as one of their colleagues and one of their person. They don't want to think Krishna in any other way. What to talk about? Even they don't want to think Krishna as a king or royal family. When they had gone to meet Krishna in Kurukshetra, they could not digest Krishna with a lot of these things, grida and very ornaments and dress and all those things, sword and all those things. They felt shy, it is not our Krishna. They wanted to see Vrindavan Krishna like a Tribangi with a peacock feather and a yellow dress. That's what they know. They don't want to see Krishna in any other way. That was their mood. But here Uddhava had been brought the message, talking all dry philosophy like that looks like. And the idea behind is why Krishna chose to tell gopis this little not so direct message to understand. For example, this is second sloka. Krishna is telling the message conveyed by Uddhava to gopis. By myself I create, sustain and withdraw myself within myself by the power of my personal energy, which comprises the material element, the senses and the modes of nature. Being composed of pure consciousness or knowledge, the soul is distinct from everything material and is involved in the entanglements of modes of nature. We can perceive the soul through the three functions of material nature, known as wakefulness, sleep and deep sleep. These are the two slokas. It's the first shot. It doesn't give you a very background or good mood, or how it does it convey, how does it console the gopis. But it's we know gopis are very, very advanced, elevated souls. But they came to the platform of very high level of devotion. They don't want to use all their brain or thoughts on these high-end thoughts. And still, Krishna, first this separation Krishna himself has mentioned. There are several reasons for Krishna to be separated from gopis. And there are external reasons, there are internal reasons, Acharyas have mentioned. The external reasons are, many things he is telling. Now, I have killed the Kamsa, but his friends are waiting to attack Madura. Therefore, I have to go and protect Madura whenever they come. And the second thing is, I have to be with my parents, convince them sometime and console them. Because of the birth, I have been brought to Nanda. Something, so many reasons he is telling. And also, the real reason, inner reason, is he himself telling later, few slokas later. And the real reason is, by being separate, the affection will be increasing more. The presence through mind is greater than the presence through body. Because sometimes the presence of body, you associate with somebody closely, it may not be so long and so much. Familiarity breeds contempt. And you lose respect and you may not be able to appreciate. Their case is different still. But through mind and other things, purified mind, and the thought will be always. When somebody is there, you don't bother. When somebody is not there, you always think of that. This is a psychology. When somebody is, even material psychology, you cannot compare with this, but Krishna is mentioning this later. Therefore, the reason Krishna is giving is, by being in separation, your mind will be always occupied in me. And always you think of me, that will be your love for me is greater and faster. You will be advancing than me physically present with you. And this is called Vipralamba Seva, in separation, love in separation. And Krishna doesn't talk about all this, even the later few slokas, he is trying to convince with these slokas, but later he came out on his own. This is the purpose I came out of you to Madhura. And here the main reason we are trying to get is, Krishna is trying to bring the way to convince. The first thing is, in normal life also, suppose if you have to separate from somebody who is very dear, to convince, oh, why do you worry, I am always with you. I'll come in short time. I always think of you. These are all common words in the normal way of life when you want to convince somebody, console somebody, separate. Krishna really adopts such a technique. Oh, why do you feel so bad? I am everything. Because what you see, everything is mine, my energy. What I create, sustain and withdraw. Srije Ganmi Anupalaya. Whatever creates Srije, whatever I destroy Ganmi, whatever I Anupalaya, whatever I am protecting and safeguarding, these are all mine only. Whatever you see is here. Why do you worry? Why don't you see me everywhere? Like a Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa is very easily somebody can perceive Lord by seeing this world or Prapanja. Different level one can understand. For example, depends on the nature and background, people can perceive or understand Krishna in different way. For example, you see the sky in the night, you see so many planets and stars. Planets are the one which doesn't blink. Stars are the one which blinks. And you see how many, according to modern science also, how many millions of light years they are away. That's why the stars are blinking, because they cross many things, planets and other things, so many galaxy and Milky Way, they have to cross it. And when they come, it's blink. But the planets are nearby, therefore they don't blink. Like that, when you think, you go mad. What is this? Like the Prapanja. How many planets are there? How many are there? We are worrying about one small solar system, which modern science, according to that, You are worrying about one artificial satellite to control it. How much you are worrying? Some 1 ton or something, 1000 kg. But millions of tons satellites are rotating around. Who is doing everything when it actually comes? And similarly, you can see an atom and you can understand how Krishna is present. And similarly, seeing the very big mountain and other things where planets and millions of tons of planets are rotating and the satellites are rotating. Moon is a satellite according to Manasarma. And how is it rotating? One can develop this consciousness, this faith. And Prabhupada tells, you are wondering about flight going on and all those things flying. You are proud of that. But you see this mosquito also small flight. Which energy it has developed? Who developed this? How is it flying? Can you make it such a micro flight with all control systems? That's a way called the knowledge and faith developed by seeing and the presence of Lord in everywhere. This is more clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam second canto or something for how to see the Lord in his Vishwarupa. I am just explaining this. Is one way of looking at it is, but copies mode are different. They don't want to see anything. Even then, the duty of Krishna through Uddhava is to make them little peaceful. That's why the second purport is telling. The gopis were advised to not to lament from this point of view also. The purpose is stop the gopis to lament because they were almost like totally collapsing condition some or other way. Therefore don't worry. First he told, I am going to come back quickly. That's the word he told on the left. I will soon come back. But he could not come back. He told so many reasons I could not come back because still enemies are coming. I got to destroy all them. I got to protect things. I got to be with my parents sometime. And so I got to read myself. I am a village boy. I didn't read anything. I got to go to Gurukula and read from Sandhya Ashram. So many such things and all. He has external reasons. But still, he wanted to convince them that this whole thing is, don't worry, I am always present with you. I am always with you. Why don't you look at it in a different way? Why don't you see the things and see my presence? Why not you look at this, my presence, by seeing all this nature and these are all energy created by me. It is my energy, Atma Maya, my own energy I have created. And with own energy I am present there and I am withdrawing also after some time. Therefore this is my nature only. Why don't you look at it? And still, to continue this conviction, he is telling in the second sloka how all these things present is through 3 stages. Susupti, Swapna, Jakratbir. Actually, Susupti means sleep, deep sleep. In English, we call it sound sleep. Sound sleep means we don't have any dreams, we don't move our body. The way you are lying down, even without any dress, anything collapsing, you get up as it is. Means your body and mind fully coordinates and you are in such a deep sleep, your body also completely coordinates with you and your mind also coordinates with you and you don't get dreams, you don't get agitation, you don't get body difficulties, everything perfectly is there, it's a deep sleep. Such a deep sleep, even few hours is sufficient enough for the body. This is called Susupti, 3 stages. Swapna means really little disturbed sleep, either through body or mind. When the mind is disturbed mind, it creates dream or sometimes disturbed body, maybe also cause of the dreams and other things, disturbed sleep. Sometimes our way of food, undigested food or something also create. These are all several reasons for the swapna, which creates body disturbance, and ultimately sleep is disturbed. Then Jagrati means fully waken up, completely active. That is the third stage. Through these three stages, you can understand. We can perceive the soul, he is telling soul, through the these stages. And try to convince this way, maybe you look at it, your soul is his form. And it's part of his thing, Mama Eva, Amsa, is Amsa. And he is trying to look at them, look their own soul, which is is Amsa, also is Paramatma. Look at it. Go for a higher stage, go for Atma level, Atma Raji. And try to enjoy in Atma level. They try to bring, because we know the body has two levels. One is gross body, another is subtle body. Gross body is made of this Panchabhuta, our physical body, what we have carried over. And above this level is Sushma, mind, intelligence, ego, Manam, Buddhi, Ahankara. These are all Sushma body. But this also part of the material elements only. All these 8 are. Pitna, Prakriti, Ashtada. These 5 elements made of 5 elements, this physical body plus Sushma body. These are all the different levels of our realization and understanding. And somebody can have understanding in the body level, purely body level. Their thoughts, nowadays most of our thoughts and the interaction or understanding is body level. And a little more advanced you go mind, little more advanced you go intelligence, little more advanced you go to Ahankara. Jivera Saurabha, Hare Krishna, Nitya, that's the level we are going. The interaction may be different levels, like different network layers. In communication, you can have physical link, data link, and network layer, and so many presentation layer, application layer. 7 layers. I don't know now, it may be more. When I studied, it was 7-layer concept, communications. Physical layer means to connect through wire or something and all those things. Or nowadays with same way in the communication of perceiving between two souls also can be in different levels. It can be on body level, very lower platform. And you can go higher levels, mind levels, intelligence levels, Ahankara level. Even that is little not as advised. That's why Acharyas tell, get rid of Ahankara and Mamakara to advance. Ahankara means I, whatever I tell. Mamakara means mind. First thing is Mamakara is mind, body. When I tell my body, all these thoughts you come out. Then you go to where is our leftover Atma. Then your communication is high level communication, is transcendental communication, Atma level. Therefore, he is trying to bring your perceivement can be different level. Now you are looking at me only. I am not physically present here, but I am present. I am all pervading. I am present everywhere. Why don't you look at it? And also I am present in you also as Atma. Why don't you perceive it? Like that, it goes a very high philosophy of making understanding two living entities, how better can and how Lord and the living entity can understand, how the living entity can understand Lord. That's a key. Bhagavad-gita many times it tells how one can understand everything, love everybody, and equally considering all concepts, because you see the Atma ready, in the Atma level communication. You don't look at any other aspect. Even the contamination you see is because of mind. Our contaminated mind, the other's contaminated mind. Give up everything. That's why he is telling another thing is, the soul is distinct from everything material. and uninvolved in the entanglements of the modes of nature. Soul is highly independent and distinct from everything material. Don't connect it to things. That's why we go to our chapter 2 Bhagavad-gita. Soul is how pure and is not untouched by everything. This is the great lessons one has to understand. Therefore, Krishna wants to be elevated from the body level, mind and all cross over and bypass everything and finally gets into Atma level. That level, one start loving and other things. Maybe the copies also, it will be very highest level. You can see my presence, I will be never lost. I will be always, you can perceive me in my presence. Even if anybody sitting before me or associating with me, I can see Lord's future is with him. And you need not look at him as a different way you present look at it. Even the deities, how do you see the Lord? Because when you do pradishta, there are two pradishta, Sala pradishta and Prana pradishta. You invite the Lord and ask him to stay. By senior Vaishnavas, they pray the Lord, please, this is normal stone or normal wood, normal things. Please kindly come and be there and bless us. That's how we perceive. And Krishna actually has given soul inside every jiva. And he is samsa. And why can't we see? And also Paramatma is sitting. If we start looking at it in that level, then where is the question of how your love and affection for everything develop in a different level? It doesn't stay only, you see here only. That's why somewhere you mention only, somebody see only worship Lord in only deity form or other thing is little neophyte level. Somebody has to come over and look at everywhere Lord's presence and in everyone presence Lord's. Pantita Samadarshinaga. Not even human being, dogs and every animal, everything. That's a very high level. That is comes in Atmaradi, Atma level. Therefore, that is because Atma is pure, not contaminated by any of these things. Sukshma Sarira, Sthola Sarira, nothing is contaminated. Therefore, contaminating the soul level. And it is distinct and nothing uninvolved. These things are not disturbed. This soul level. Therefore, this type of engagement is very, very important, and to understand the development of real devotional activities. Okay, initially we try to fix something, Lord, in some deity, somebody, some guru or somebody, every level. But later, you have to expand it to see everywhere. That's the concept is bringing these things. And the soul is totally not contaminated by any of these activities. Any of these material elements or solar, sukshma activities. I remember one nice story from Sri Vishnu Sampradaya. How to understand the activities of soul is not affected, but the body and the Sukshma Sthola is affected. The Guru is trying to explain the Shishya with all his best effort to tell how body is being affected, only affected by this. Body only is affected, Sukshma Sthola, by the activities of these day-to-day things, but the soul is not disturbed or contaminated. But whatever you tell, one is jnana, another is vijnana. One is theory, another is practical knowledge. You could understand something, but you are unable to realize, you could not feel, could not fully digest it. That Shishya was, the disciple was unable to accept it fully. You could understand. He is repeatedly asking questions. I don't get convinced. How can you tell the body and soul, everything in same setup? For example, if I get a heat, I should get whole body's heat. How only one organ is free from that heat? If I get pain or if I get energy, everything should be uniform. The soul is also inside, it will be also affected. That is his argument. How soul can be free from this body disturbance? And this Guru told, okay, wait some time, I will explain to you. Then after some days, this Markashi month is coming, and all songs are very famous. And every day they sing a song and make, even today, all the temples will open 4:30. All temples, Vishnu temples. and they make nice payasam and sweet rice, and they offer, and the morning they distribute after prayer. And every day one sloka that Tirupavai they sing and things. The 26th day is a nice song that Andal is singing. I'll make a nice akara kadishal, they call akara kadishal. Very sweet rice she calls. And make it, I'll offer it to you. And a lot of butter I'll offer it to you. 100 parts this, 100 parts this, I'll offer it. And the nice song, and you can, and when you eat, it should come to your knee. Like that, it should be so tasty, ghee, butter, and all those things, sweet rice. You lick it, and that. Normally, we go and wash teeth and others. Sri Vishnu, they don't wash. They lick and put it on the head because of prasadam. Many I have seen. They give so much for their thought level is different. This we go by smartas, washing our things, and so many rice will be going out. Prasadam will be. And the plates also, we waste so much prasadam sometime and when you wash it. And therefore he is telling that so much, that's a sloka is telling. He was taking the class that day. After that day, that sweet rice nicely coming. Very, very sweet, hot, and with the ghee flowing. And so sweet, it will be different, not like our sweet rice and others. It will be very different. They boil the milk for so much, and it's a very different. Maybe Rasaj Prabhu can give a class on this. You may be knowing. And there's call the disciple. Every disciple he give once, they took and went. This disciple who had a question about Atma, not how his Atma is not affected, he called him. Please come here. And he gave one nice spoon and all the things he enjoyed. He gave second, third, fourth, he was giving so much, he was enjoying so much, it can be eaten nicely. It will be made with gur, not with the sugar and all. And it's for coming to the end of the hand and he's enjoying. Then after taking all these things, the Guru is telling him, please, go and wash your hands, soap with all those things, because ghee is fully done now. He washed and came. He asked you, did you wash your tongue? You put soap and all those things, wash your tongue and come back. He tells, no, why I should wash the tongue? It doesn't touch here. Only hand it is getting touched, I go to wash. Tongue it isn't. Oh, in your body itself, one organ is not touched by this ghee, another organ is touched by this thing. And why don't you think the soul also can be present there without being touched by all these things? This is a story, small explaining. Sometimes the acharyas explain in a different way, how the soul is not affected. And even the body, sometimes we are not getting touched by these. Why not be possible for the soul also not to be affected by all the activities of these material activities? Somewhat this is the way Krishna brings the argument, and Krishna brings the prelude for the gopis to understand that how to look at the things, how to develop the consciousness better, how to be narrowed down only the lower level. But Krishna's body is Satchidananda, not physical. And it is totally spiritual. And this way, these two slokas goes, it continues later. Later when it comes, it's a few slokas, I think 36 or 37. It's after two slokas, 35. But the actual reason, this is 34, but the actual reason why I, the beloved object of your sight, have stayed far away from you is that I wanted to intensify your meditation upon me and thus draw minds closer to me, your minds closer to me. The next, when her lover is far away, human thinks of him more than when he is present before her. The next, because your minds are totally absorbed in me and free from all other engagement, you remember me always. And as you will very soon have me again in your presence. Because through mind you can bring continuous thing. This is the actual reason. After 2 slokas is telling. The idea behind is, we also try to improve our relations with other entities, living entities, in a different level. All concept, all difficulties, all problem comes because we are acting in the lower level. When you try to act in a higher level, this problem will vanish. Because Atma level pure. And at that level your interaction is there, your thoughts are there, you start recognizing the entities, then your mood is different. And this is the way Krishna brings not only the copies and give the message to also to improve it. Initially when I was telling something, this was little, even Prabhupada, many places is there. Somebody very nectar or devotion also I think that somebody looks only deity level, only deity presence and spiritual, it's very low level, neophyte. When they come to recognize every living entity, everywhere Krishna's presence, then it's a higher level. And this way, we need to improve. This concept is bringing these 2 slokas. I try to explain with the limited knowledge which I had it. And thank you very much. I welcome comments, criticism, and any addition, question, answers. Hare Krishna. I request Rasaraj Prabhu to give some. I need something Rasaraj Prabhu can tell. Give the mic to Rasaraj Prabhu.
கிளாஸ் கொடுத்துட்டீங்க, கேட்டாச்சா? நான் என்ன பேசணும்? அதான் கேள்வி தான் கேட்க சொல்லணும். Questions? Anybody has questions?
You can add something. You can add something.
What is that to add? No, class was nice, so. Mukund Madhava can add. PhD.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So, we see that when we put ourselves in devotional.
Little away, mic.
Yeah. Now is it clear? Is it clear now?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we put ourselves in a devotional environment, our consciousness is elevated, and we are Krishna conscious. But when we put ourselves in non-devotional environment, then certainly to some level our consciousness gets impacted, or it gets affected.
Some level affected.
It gets affected. So just like Prabhupada says that consciousness is a symptom of the soul. So how to understand, it means that whenever our consciousness is impacted, that means it is also impacting the soul, or in one way it is affecting the soul. So you said that soul is not affected by external things. So yeah, how to understand it?
The question is, sometime in our day-to-day activities, even consciousness affected or soul is also affected, I feel. But I am not telling, Krishna is telling. Soul is now pure and it is not affected in of these things. Now it is we feel that the soul is affected because our soul is covered by all this Maya, and sometimes we perceive that the soul is affected. Like a simple example is Prabhupada has many places. You had a dream that a tiger comes and bites you. And it's a dream, totally. And you have got a very strong dream that a tiger has bitten you. Then when you wake up from the dream, even though you know it is a dream, your whole body has shivered and perspired, and you feel the whole feeling of that tiger has bitten. certainly it is dream, but how do you feel it? Similarly, your conscious level is, when it is subject to these material things, you are in the material world. And this is Tadastha Sakti, you are in between. Spiritual energy and material energy. Both combined together, we have taken this body. This body is totally alone. Look at material, it's a material body. Belonging to material element. But if you see soul alone, it is spiritual element. But when both combined together, we are calling living entity. There is Tadastha Sakti. In between. It's a cat on the wall. You realize as a soul, you can be better way as a soul spiritual world. If you try to understand your body as whole thing as a body level, then you are in other side, material energy. Therefore, similarly, your conscious level also depends on where you keep your things, whether in a spiritual Atma level or body level. If you keep in the body level, the conscious will affect you. Looks like it's not affected. Your soul is not affected. Soul is covered maybe by these thoughts. And it is illusion, not in the... When you in a spiritual platform, it's absolute. The purport also tells. In spiritual level, it's absolute. You will not be affected. And therefore, until our consciousness is of our level is within this material platform, certainly we feel that consciousness is affecting the soul. But when you elevate yourself to the spiritual level, it will be different. It will not be affected. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare.
Thank you very much for the nice class. Just an extension to his question. When we do offenses, does it affect the soul or not?
No, one is called material things, another is called spiritual. For example, I don't remember nowadays is that when I was writing initiation question, what is the difference between devotion and punya karma? Or sin and aparadha. Sin is material form. You do something materially sinful out of an ignorance. But aparadha is spiritual. Spiritually negative. Spiritual means it affects spiritually, and sin is affect materially. And similarly, when you do offenses, it goes in the category of spiritually negative. It's not like, for example, out of sense gratification, I may do some mistakes, little mistakes, but it is very temporary. Sin can be can be brought out very easily, but aparadha will more spiritually affected. That's why even Sanatana Goswami, when he was trying to surrender, first time when he comes and meets Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Rupa Goswami, they tell, this Jagai Mada is better than us. They are only offenders. Only because of some sense gratification they did mistakes. But we are much more sinful because we offended lot of Vaishnavas by taking the things and so much they are explaining. Therefore, you showed the mercy to them, but not us. Like that, in our thoughts, we need to be very, very careful about these things. And this sin gives the papa, naraka or something. This aparadha also spoils the devotion. Devotion comes after birth and continues. Therefore, it should not be carried out. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more question.
Yes.
In this message of Lord Krishna to gopis, he is telling them to see him in the attributes of nature, how to see him in the nature. So for the gopis, it seems that for gopis it is easy to think of Krishna because they had a taste of Krishna first and then separation. And then Krishna is telling them that you be pacified seeing me in the things around. For us, it is vice versa. We have no taste or experience of Krishna, and when we are to see Krishna in the things around, it becomes difficult.
Somehow, unless we advance this consciousness, is very tough. We have to try ourselves to see Krishna in every activity. Otherwise, Krishna is not happy to see him alone and other things. We call dasana dasana das. That means we are able to see everywhere Krishna's presence, then only we can act in this mood. Not because of only looking at Krishna. Krishna doesn't tell who worships me is not my devotee, but who worships or who serves my devotees are real my devotees. That means we need to develop the consciousness to look at all living entities a different way. And we cannot expect only by that process we can, for a simple example I take, I didn't come to Krishna consciousness, I know Krishna or devotion or anything. I saw some devotees following, I developed a faith, and through them I came. Seeing their activities I came, seeing their blissful I came, seeing their level of things I came. Therefore this is, we forget it. How we entered Krishna consciousness, how we develop faith. And Krishna never acts directly, acts through different level of people, different things. That's why because so many Siksha Guru, Upa Gurus and all those things. You can understand every level, the presence. Upa Guru is very great. And seeing the honeybee, he develops the things. And that so many such things are there. And you know, one bird will take a catch and sit in the tree, all the birds try to catch and disturb it. The moment it drops it, all goes there, these birds got relief so peacefully. Then from that he learns that Avanti Brahmana, that whatever level you try to understand and get something attached, you get trouble. The moment you leave the attachment, your mind is free. Like that you can learn each and everything from everybody, every living entity, every soul. But we are missing it. And this consciousness you develop, it will be a great boon for a spiritual advancement. And Krishna is teaching through all these things. That's why they tell the Upa Guru concept, 24 Upa Gurus. And similarly, so many Siksha Gurus, you can take in section. And these are all, you can see the presence of Krishna, even through instructions, even these activities, even from scientific, even from their extraordinary activities. These are all different ways you can develop. It's a big concept. Therefore, we can go on continuing this way, you can improve the things. Thank you. Any other question? Yes.
I just wanted to add that the message of Krishna was not that they should see him in everything. So you didn't say it right. That's not the point of... The point of this sloka is not that the gopis should see Krishna in everything. Krishna is saying that I am behind everything. So it is Krishna, the person, that is being talked about, not Krishna's energies. And of course, the meaning of Sushupti, Swapna and Jagrat has one meaning for conditioned soul, another meaning for liberated soul. Because the gopis are liberated, ever liberated. So for them, there is a question of Sushupti, Swapna, Jagrata, but it has another meaning. So you have to be a little careful.
Thank you. The difference is one is for conditioned soul, another for liberated soul. That for gopis are very highly liberated souls, they look at directly at Krishna as the person. For conditioned soul, these are all beginning. All these things are secondary level. One who is advanced, they can directly pursue Krishna. Thank you. Somebody was asking.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You were mentioning on the living entity as a Tata Shakti and as a marginal energy. So Krishna is mentioning that the soul is pure. And when it comes to this material world, it gets influenced or concocted by the material energy. When it's pure, how can its character get changed or get influenced by the material energy? How is it, or how can we come out of that ignorance? We are always on the seashore, sometimes in the water, sometimes on the land. So how does the soul gets influenced by the material energy so easily? We have to work so hard.
No, the two things is, one is we have our old experiences and vasanas. Because of that, whenever you find you try to pursue through material way, not through spiritual way. You have not learned the technique of understanding everything through spiritually. For example, the relation between two living entities, we go always treat with the material way. That's why we could not understand. When you convert it to understand in a spiritual way, things will be different. It's a practice. This is called a spiritual practice. This is called understanding soul or spiritually, the relations. And unless you develop things, it looks like contaminated. Soul is not disturbed or contaminated, but it's covered by these thoughts. Until we have these material thoughts, we may not be able to come, but slowly it will, the spiritual advancement means you try to find spiritual relations, spiritual connection between all living entities. Until that, this will be there. Slowly you go to advanced spirituality. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Thank you very much for the very wonderful class. So, you were mentioning about the familiarity point, that how the gopis, they were loving in separation. So, so my question is that oftentimes I have also experienced this, and so it is like when I continue to stay at one place or with somebody, so oftentimes, as you mentioned, that we continue to find faults. So when we keep on traveling, preaching, let's say, so and then when we come back to the temple, so we feel little different, that okay, I feel more grateful, that okay, what I have been preaching or what I have been seeing outside, and then when I come, so how to maintain the consciousness, because actually it's a great fortune to be always residing with somebody who is advanced, but then the yadus, they took it cheaply when they were with Krishna, and that's how Krishna wanted to teach them a lesson. And here we see with gopis, so Krishna really wanted to intensify their love, and that's how Krishna went away. But with yadus, Krishna didn't did that, so he allowed to, like he was staying with them, and that's how they took it cheaply to Krishna. So how to maintain that consciousness when we are always with devotees? And
the Yadus love is different from Gopis love, certainly. Gopis are very advanced stage. Yadus are not up to that level. Therefore, Krishna also reciprocated according to their level. Similarly, in our consciousness, you told we travel someplace and come back, we are missing our association and all those things. But it is not so. We can mentally consume the teachings and other things. And like a Prabhupada never met his Guru so many times. He was only 3 times he met his Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But such a powerful Acharya, he became so dedicated to his Guru, because he was holding all the thoughts and other things of his Guru. Maybe that's a way we need to have much more conscious level of his teachings and other things than physical presence. Sometimes physical presence alone will not help. And the main thing is our instruction and other things, how we are applying. Also our mode is to preaching is the essence. Prabhupada now always might have stayed in Vrindavan, such a holy dham, but he travelled. The purpose is to preach the Krishna. Whoever gives this message, they are very dear to me, nobody else is dearer than him. Therefore, to make him dear, we have to give the message. And we always keep in heart and mind and words, everything, the instruction of Acharya. Then we are safe. We get the association, we get the instruction, we get everything. Sometimes it's very tough, but you keep in your mind continuously these thoughts, like same copies were asked to keep continuously thinking of me, he tells. In a separation, we also unable to keep our separation, but keep the thoughts very closely. The instruction, by the instructions, by the behavior, by teachings and all Vaishnavas, your level of things will improve a lot. And you will not feel so much. Thank you. Thank you to everybody.